A son's admiration for his father is a powerful bond, a reason so many young men choose to follow in their father's footsteps. But Musab Hassan would have that admiration sorely tested. The moment came in prison where Hassan says he started to see his father's organization, Hamas, in a much different light and envisioned for himself a much different path. Jonathan Hunt's investigation continues.
I loved Hamas because I loved my father. Your father is everything for you as a child. He's not only a leader or like he's your world. And you think that he's the best, he's the strongest, he's your king, he's your God, basically. So I loved him and I loved the ideas that, and his beliefs.
That reverence for his father, Sheikh Hassan Youssef, one of the founders of Hamas, led Musab Hassan toward the West Bank's more radical groups.
For my father's position, I became the president of the Islamic student movement.
You weren't just anybody in the Islamic youth movement in the West Bank. You were yourself a leader of the Islamic youth movement.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And the heir apparent to your father.
Yeah. We recruit many people, just talking to them about God. Then they are ready to be recruited for Hamas movement.
Was the student Islamic movement in the West Bank a radical Islamic movement?
It leads to Hamas. It's one of Hamas wings.
So it is radical?
It is, of course.
It condones terror?
They praise terrorists.
When pressed in a later interview, Musab Hassan denied actually engaging in terrorist acts.
You never had knowledge of any bombings being planned, even though you were president of the Islamic youth movement and your father was a founder of Hamas?
Yeah, this is not because I didn't want. This is not because I didn't want. The Hamas military wing, they didn't want me to get involved in this type of resistance because of security reasons.
So you supported it? You supported suicide attacks?
Definitely, definitely. I told you, I used to celebrate. When there is an attack in Israel, I used to celebrate.
And in praising suicide bombers, as president of the Islamic youth movement, do you believe you inspired other young men to become suicide bombers?
Maybe. In indirect way. I don't know. Maybe.
Do you believe that in any way at all you personally have blood on your hands?
Indirect way, definitely not. But maybe like indirect ways, probably.
On September 13, 1993, Yasser Arafat stood alongside Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and President Clinton to sign the Oslo peace accords. Hamas wanted no part of it, and as the peace process moved forward over the next months and years, began plotting a new campaign of terror. In early 1996, after 3 years of relative calm, Israel was rocked by a series of deadly suicide bombings. February 25th, Jerusalem's central bus station, 27 dead. March 3rd, Jaffa Street, Jerusalem, another bus bomb, 18 dead. March 4th, Tel Aviv, 13 killed in yet another suicide attack. Hamas trumpeted its involvement in the attacks. Israel responded with sweeping raids aimed at Hamas and all its linked organizations, Musab Hassan's Islamic youth movement among them. Musab Hassan soon found himself face to face with Israeli soldiers.
They put me in a small cell for about a couple of hours. After that, they bound me again and handcuff me, put the blinds on my eyes, put me in a jeep with 3 soldiers, hit me all the way from Beit El to Al-Maskubiya in Jerusalem, West Jerusalem.
Had you been involved in any planning? Did you have any knowledge of any attacks against Israelis in the months or years running up to that arrest?
Oh, no, not at all, but they had suspicions. Of course, like being the son of my father, they had some suspicions that I might know something.
This is Megiddo prison in northern Israel. It became Mossab Hassan's home for 18 months, beginning in the summer of 1996. Now, Islamic radicals typically only become more extreme, more hardened in their views after a stint in a place like this. But that is not what happened to Mossab Hassan.
One would think you go into prison and become far, far more radical in the face of all of that, far more committed to not just Islam, but to the cause of Hamas. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, definitely this is not what happened. I saw in Hamas, I saw in Islam as a solution for humanity, for my people.
So Hamas and Islam were the solution to the problems of the Palestinians, in your eyes?
In my eyes, definitely. This is how I saw it. I believed in it.
So what on earth happened in prison?
The answer when we come back.